And greetings from Jacksonville, Alabama, where we are getting set for an evening of OVC basketball action between Jacksonville State and Tennessee State. Inside Pete Matthews Coliseum, courtside, Mickey Shadracks along with Gerhard Mathangani. Jacksonville State playing the third of a four-game homestand tonight. They split the first two, Gerhard, against Eastern Kentucky and Morehead State. Tonight's opponent, Tennessee State, gives us a matchup of 4-4 teams in the league.
Yeah, these two teams are about as evenly matched as you can get, not just from a scoring standpoint, but also from the record standpoint. Both 4-4, pivotal games for both teams. Tennessee State really needs one, losing 3 in a row.
Impact players for tonight's matchup. For the visiting Tigers from Tennessee State, we'll begin with Carlos Marshall.
Yeah, the 6'6 redshirt sophomore has been phenomenal. Has led Tennessee State in scoring in each of the last 6 games. They get contributions from just about everywhere, but he's been monster. 12.7 points per game, but here lately close to 20 points per game. He'll be sensational for the Tigers tonight if they're trying to get a win here in Jacksonville.
Speaking of monster, what about the effort last Saturday by this young man, Kane Henry? He put on a show and a blowout win over Morehead.
And everybody in the OVC is starting to take notice. For the second straight week, he was named the newcomer of the week. 23 points, 16 rebounds, a couple of blocks, a couple of steals against Morehead State. He's had double-doubles in 3 of the last 4 games for Jacksonville State.
And JSU coach Ray Harper getting set to send his troops out to battle against Tennessee State. Big conference matchup, as Gerhard mentioned earlier, with these two teams sitting at 4-4 in the league. Jacksonville State's got Belmont coming in here on Saturday. Don't want to lose this one in advance of that. There is Penny Collins, second year, Tennessee State. Both teams heading out to center court, set for the opening tip. We'll set your starters in just a moment. Kane Henry and Shaquem Johnson, 6'7 versus 6'7. Ready to get us underway. Officials for this evening's OVC matchup, John Dillon, Joey Richardson, and Chris Balanek. And we are underway from Jacksonville. Tennessee State controls the opening tip.
Coming into this game, Tennessee State, one of the best rebounding teams in the league, especially on the offensive boards. Jacksonville State needing to do well on the defensive side off missed shots.
Little John thought about the 3, steps to the side, has it blocked. Good D by Cam Jones. And here comes Kane Henry on the push. Gamecocks reset against the Tigers' man-to-man defense. Rube, backdoor pass to Ty Hudson, and he has his shot rejected by Wesley Harris. Good defense by both teams on the first 2 possessions of the game. Little John handing off to Harris. Up top it goes to Washington. Now on the left wing is Carlos Marshall. And here's a look at your starting lineup for Tennessee State. They have 3 players that average in double figures in Little John, Washington, and our impact player tonight, Carlos Marshall, the leading scorer at 12.7. Meanwhile, for Jacksonville State, this has kind of been the lineup that Coach Harper has settled in with as of late. Cook, Hudson, Henry, Harden, and Rube. Interesting, Gerhard, none of these guys average in double figures. The 2 leading scorers for Jacksonville State come off the bench.
It's a really interesting dynamic, like you said, with Jakar Cross, one of the better post players, and as well as guys like Derek St. Hilaire and Detorian Ware, great off the bench. But as we said earlier in our impact players, Kane Henry been playing really well. I won't be surprised if his numbers start to go over double digits for his average.
Yeah, he's actually, it's funny you say that, he's averaging 9.9 points a game. I don't think you can get any closer to double figures than that. And you're right, Detorian Ware is the leading scorer at 11.6. Jakar Cross right behind him at 11.4. So Coach Harper definitely gets an offensive punch when he goes to his bench. Jacksonville State, though, Gerhard, one of those teams, as they say, on any given night, it could be a different guy.
It really has, and that's what they've shown really in the entire year with guys like Jakar Cross. Martin Rube's had great games. Elias Harden has gone off, but then here lately, it's been the Kane Henry show.
Turnover by the Tigers. Here we see the replay. I think Elias Harden got one of those hands in the way there. Kind of like the defensive back, interrupting the concentration of the wide receiver. Harden trying to save it in bounds off of Wesley Harris, but a foul on Harris instead, so the Gamecocks will keep it. As both teams a little sluggish offensively to get this one going.
Yeah, a little shaky start for both teams here. They haven't played since Saturday. It's an interesting dynamic that the OVC has with these Saturday and Thursday matchups. It's a long time between games, between your weekend game on Saturday and Thursday. Sometimes it takes a little while to get the scoring, and Derek Cook gets it off for Jacksonville State.
Cook's really improved as the season's gone on. He's kind of gotten a hold of that starting point guard spot. Nice reverse there by Cook. He's averaging right at 6 points per game. He's got good size at 6'5", strong player. Kane Henry, look at him just go up for that rebound. He showed the other day that he's got a high ceiling, I'll put it that way.
For sure, and with as athletic as he is, and he's worked on his perimeter game so much, and he's just had such great touch and a soft touch around the basket. This will be a great matchup between Kane Henry and some of the bigs for Tennessee State here tonight.
Elias Harden missing the shot after the pump fake and the near travel. Contact on the baseline, charging foul against Jalen Washington, the redshirt senior from Smyrna, Tennessee.
Yeah, Coach Harper has to love this effort here by Kane Henry, just getting right in the way and getting Jalen Washington to commit his second foul.
So Washington will have to go to the bench quickly. He goes to the very end of the bench, very disappointed. Tough when you come out and just get going. Hadn't even worked up a sweat, you got foul trouble.
Yeah, when he averages, especially when a guy like him averages double digits, and he's played well here in the OVC stretch.
Kane Henry missing the hook shot in close, but you can tell he's got a little bit of confidence after that game the other day. It's not just that game. He's put together a string of really good games for Jacksonville State. Michael Littlejohn with a good extension and a left-handed finish to tie the game.
Yeah, these Kane Henry performances have been really something to watch, and just to watch him bloom for Jacksonville State fans, to see him score north of 20 points in the last couple of games. It's been a sight for sore eyes, looking for some progress from that exact position left by Jason Burnell last year.
Elias Harden is now 0 for 2 from the field. We've got our first media timeout of the game. Already a little over 4 minutes into this one. Points kind of hard to come by. Cook and company from Jacksonville State tied with Tennessee State. And we're back at Pete Matthews series history. As you might expect, these two teams not that far apart. Jacksonville and Nashville, Tennessee, and play a lot of games together. Jack State, though, kind of been the dominant team as of late.
Right. The Tennessee State, the overall lead with those 18 wins, but Jacksonville State swept this series last year, both here at Pete Matthews Coliseum and in Nashville, looking for a third in a row tonight.
Little John from long misses. Offensive rebound, though, by Marshall. Tigers get another crack at it. Marshall drives, spin move. A little English on that one, not enough, though. Here comes Cook off to St. Hilaire, who's checked into the game. St. Hilaire, one of those guys off the bench that provides some offensive punch on any given night, averaging right at 8 points a game. Jakar Cross goes up, misses his first shot. Kane Henry couldn't control the rebound. And it will go over to Tennessee State.
Yeah, Jakar Cross is working on Kone down low, and Tennessee State not making that shot easy. Kane Henry's already missed one, and Jakar Cross has missed one right around the basket as well.
Kone, as you mentioned, he's in the game out of the timeout, as is Wesley Harris. Little John with a pump fake. Harris tries the three, misses long. Kone, big strong guy with the rebound.
That's what they do best, Tennessee State. Offensive rebounding. They're third in the OVC in that category.
Little John throws it to the JSU bench. Who throws it back nicely?
As you mentioned, the scoring for Jacksonville State, a little rough here. Just take a look at the replay. The ball just goes out of bounds, just trying to make a play, getting it out to Wesley Harris. But Jacksonville State really needing some points, only 2 points there before the first media timeout. So Coach Harper puts in the three guys that have been the most impactful on offense, Jakar Cross, as well as Derek St. Hilaire and Datorian Ware. Speaking of Jakar Cross, took a shot to the face there.
Kone, inadvertent contact there. Kone a long way from home, from San Francisco. You'll see it right there.
Looks like a shoulder right to the face, but confirms to the officials that he's okay. I think they were worried about blood for a second on from his mouth, but he seems to be fine.
Torian Ware, leading scorer for the Gamecocks, barely just ahead of Jakar Cross and his season averages in the game. Cook misses, Cross misses the putback, and Marshall comes out of the pack with the ball. Ahead it goes to Egbuda. He saves it in to Kone. Back out to Littlejohn. Tigers reset the offense with plenty of time on the shot clock. Crowd chanting defense. Well, they're getting plenty of it here in this first half so far.
Extra hard.
Littlejohn puts it on the floor. Dishes to Kone. Contact. Off the pass. Foul against Jacksonville State's Derek Cook, I believe, is who got the foul. His first. He'll go out of the game.
Everybody wearing white wanted to travel here. You'll take a look for yourself as Kone is right around the basket. And they will get Cook, as you said, for his first foul.
Good crowd here tonight inside the Pete. And it comes to Egbuda. Shot blocked by Cam Jones, who should say, yeah, Cam Jones in the game. But the follow is good, so Tennessee State takes their first lead of the night.
Defending around the basket has been clutch for both teams here. Not a whole lot of scoring, even though both teams are going down there in the post.
Kane Henry out top to St. Hilaire. Shoots a tough three. Kane Henry, though, able to corral the rebound. Inside to Cross, dish to Henry, and he misses the layup. Gets it, well, thought he had the rebound, but lost it. So kind of a rough start for Henry. He's 0 for 2.
Seems to be almost like an invisible fortified little thing before the rim there. Kane Henry and Jakar Cross not being able to score. Meanwhile, quick little 4-0 run here by Tennessee State.
Marshall, his first basket of the game. 6-2 Tennessee State. Cam Jones starting to get a little more playing time as the season progresses.
Yeah, came into about 3 weeks ago, averaging about 7 minutes per game, and now Coach Harper's putting him in earlier and a little bit more often through the course of games, and that's usually a sign of good practices and showing the coaching staff that he's improved throughout the course of the season. But he there picks up a quick foul, his first one, and he'll go right back to the bench.
Taken there on the baseline by Michael Littlejohn. So Coach Harper sees his team struggling from the field so far. Only 1 of 12. 8%.
Don't get much lower than that.
Yikes.
That's awful. Yeah, just two teams that come in averaging about 70 to 75 points per game. But here lately, Tennessee State has given up an average of 89 in their 3 losses against the top 3 teams in the league.
Littlejohn, another long three. Misses it long. Morose Zelisnak battling with Kone. I've already seen enough of Kone to know he's a battler.
He is. And Coach Penny Collins has to love his effort because Jacksonville State puts a lot of big guys on the floor, and Kone will take a rest here. Watch him down low, just active, number 34.
He got 2 of them on.
He does, and between Zelisnak and Torian Ware, there were 2 guys right all in his face, and they get Torian Ware for his first one, and a nice little break there for the big 6'9" guy, as you said, from California.
Coach Harper speaking with the official nicely. Speaking of coaches, I got to point this out before I forget. Former JSU coach Mike LaPlante is in the building tonight. Coached here at Jacksonville State from 2000 till 2008. Coached some very good Jacksonville State teams. Good to see him sitting courtside here tonight.
Yeah, one of the coaches that was here as JSU made that move, and one of the kind of the kickstarters to Jacksonville State playing D1 basketball. It had some great seasons, as you said, and multi-talented, now practicing law.
Little John drives. Nice dish and the dunk. Shaquem Johnson, first bucket of the game. It's 8-2 now, Tennessee State.
It's a great feed inside, and Shaquem Johnson with a nice jam.
Kind of how the women's game started earlier today. Tennessee State jumped out on top of the Gamecocks, the Lady Gamecocks, 15-5 before JSU finally got cranked up in that second half. The men hope they don't have to wait that long. St. Hilaire tries another three, draws contact, and is going to get 3 free throws as Michael Littlejohn does what coaches don't want to see, is foul the three-point shooter. Here we see the dish and the dunk. Tennessee State off to a good start here on the road in Jacksonville. And we're back ready for action. 11:38 to play here in the first half of this OVC men's matchup between Tennessee State and Jacksonville State. St. Hilaire fouled there by Littlejohn. So Derek St. Hilaire, a 75% free throw shooter on the year, makes his first. And the second as well.
St. Hilaire averaging about 7 points per game, but he can score. He's dropped 22 points in the non-conference part of the schedule and a big 11-point performance against Morehead State here on Saturday.
And he makes all 3. Pulls the Gamecocks to within 3, and that brings out the full court press. Struggling offensively. Gamecocks try to make something happen with the defense, and they do. Turnover, Tennessee State off the press. Coach Collins with the Penny nickname, and if you're wondering, yes, it is associated with Penny Hardaway.
Yep, one of his favorite players growing up. Got the nickname early, and then as Chicago Cross, it looks like Kane Henry will get the basket and the foul. Take another look here at nice feed from Cook, and Henry puts it in. Trying to get back into double figures once again. Yeah, you mentioned Penny Collins, though, with his second season there in Nashville. He's a Nashville native. Played at Belmont, one of those top teams for Belmont, one of the teams that went to the NCAA tournament. And back in his hometown now with Tennessee State.
Kane had missed his first 2. He makes that one and the free throw as well. And the Gamecocks almost turned them over again. Marshall in the lane, contact with Detorian Ware. They're going to call a foul against Ware.
So Detorian Ware now picks up his quick second foul here. Good active ball movement by Tennessee State. And it looks like Detorian Ware didn't have to go on the body there because Jakar Cross doing a great job protecting the rim with a block. But either way, 2 quick ones for big number 33.
Oh, we could call that one a kill. Looked good on the volleyball court. Wesley Harris out top, hands it off to John Brown. Johnson, oh, he had Brown break free and missed him. Marshall drives, dishes, and Egbuka is rejected by Henry. Out of bounds off of Jacksonville State.
This will be one of the more impressive blocks that you see because it looks like a wide open dunk here. And watch Henry jump the first time and then comes back to his feet, goes up again, and blocks it again. That's sensational right there by Kane Henry.
So the teams head to their respective benches.
Might be looking this one over to see who the ball went out on. There it looks. That's what they're looking at. Looking at the shot clock there. Just getting some clarification.
.47 here in our first half. Each team just with 8 points on the board so far. Low scoring game. Officials still working through the process of trying to determine whose ball it is. And I guess they all three want to lay their eyes on the screen across the court. And while they are trying to figure this out, we are going to take a look at the OVC standings, and it is a two-team race so far.
At the top, that's right, between Murray State and Austin Peay. Eastern Kentucky, who's had a strong season, came in here and got a win. Belmont sitting at that number 4 spot, one of the leaders at the beginning of the season. But there's 3 teams that are sandwiched right here, all at 4-4, looking to go above 500 tonight. Tennessee State, Eastern Illinois, and Jacksonville State. This is a really pivotal point for all 3 of those teams.
I'll tell you, Belmont, though, coming off a tough 2-game road trip, playing Austin Peay and Murray on the road. And here we see it again, the block, but
they're trying to determine if, whenever Henry blocks it out of bounds, if there's any time left on that shot clock. And I'm not sure if you have.
By the way, speaking of Belmont, they will be here Saturday. So
that's
big
right.
game for Jacksonville State.
4 seconds on the shot clock.
Tigers get it into Marshall. He pulls up from the free throw line, misses off the back of the iron cross, chases down the loose ball.
So much to do about nothing there.
Cross is posted. Draws a double team, takes it anyway, and banks it in. First basket of the game for Jakar Cross. I don't think the primary defender needs to be the guy that was just on it.
No, they'll have to switch that up whenever Jakar Cross gets low, and they are great at finding the mismatches, Jacksonville State is, especially when they get down low with the big guys.
John Brown hands it off to Ekbuda. Spin move. Kane Henry shut that down. Marshall with 2 to shoot. Drives, pulls up, misses. Kane Henry swipes down the rebound. Here comes Elias Harden on the push. St. Hilaire drives, dishes. Kane Henry missed a dunk, hung on and tapped it in. They're going to wave it off.
Yeah, he's giving himself a little smile there. He knows exactly what happened. He missed the dunk. He's athletic enough, though, to go get the ball back. This is one of the more athletic players you'll see just in general. Watch. He realizes at the last moment, but his hand is hanging on the rim. And
there's no doubt he is playing with a different level of confidence as this season has progressed in his first year in a Gamecock uniform. Full court press again. Tigers will inbound again as it's off the foot of Henry. This is a kind of length, JSU can throw at you. You got Henry, you got Elias Harden and Cam Jones. And Harden steals it and saves it into Jones, ahead to Henry, and Henry has it knocked away from behind. St. Hilaire goes in the corner to Jones, shoots a 3 and makes it right in front of the Tennessee State bench.
that was a good find in the corner there, good anticipation on the pass.
Another steal, lob to Henry. St. Hilaire is open. 3 rolls around and goes down. And the Gamecocks got the crowd on their feet. And all of a sudden, just like that, is an 8-point Jacksonville State lead.
Good sequence of events for the Jacksonville State offense and the defense. The 3-pointer by Cam Jones set up with a great pass, and then Jones playing phenomenally, getting the steal. Play shit basketball, and they come away with it. Watch St. Hilaire here just throwing it to the corner where Cam Jones meets him. Jones knocks down the 3-pointer. And then keep your eye on Jones, because Jones gets the steal, and then off the inbounds play, they knock down the 3-pointer in the corner. Just like that, Jacksonville State doubles up Tennessee State.
St. Hilaire 1 for 3 now from behind the arc. Love the call by Ray Harper. Team struggling offensively. employs the full court press. He's got all these rangy wing guys at 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and it's tough to get the ball around those guys.
It really is. They get their hands in the passing lanes and making it really, really tough, and some quick turnovers, 6 of them already for Tennessee State.
Littlejohn over to Marshall. Malone trying to dribble it across and won't make it. That is the 3rd turnover the Gamecocks have forced out of their press.
Jacksonville State now on a 14-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes, and thanks in large part to the fact that Tennessee State having a hard time just getting the ball across. And when they do, they have to milk down the shot clock all the way down. Here you see the turnovers, 7 turnovers for Tennessee State, just 1 for JSU.
Kane Henry showing his range. That's almost not fair when he can, all that he can do inside. If he steps out and makes that 3 with consistency, the sky really is the limit for that young man. A block by Jones. Muscling it in, though, is Wesley Harris. The Tigers really needed that basket.
Yeah, what they do best there, getting the offensive rebound, and then Harris puts it back in.
Jones misses the long 3 from the top of the key. Looks over at the bench and says, I know, bad shot. Not going to stop Ty Hudson from coming in to get him out, though. Littlejohn up top to Harris. Over it goes to Malone. Johnson makes his move, left hand, and he gets a roll.
That reminds me a little bit of Jakar Cross, the way he's able to position himself, and that's the 2nd time Johnson's just been phenomenal around the basket.
Cuts the lead down to 7 as we go under 8 to play first half. Energy picking up in the building for sure. Cross posted against Johnson. And he's fouled on the way up. So Jakar Cross, very deliberate that time with his move to the basket. Will have free throws after the timeout. Here we see the great work out of the press. Henry in the corner to St. Hilaire. We'll take a break and come back in just a moment. And back inside the Pete. Gerhard, 3-point shooting. He's gotten the Gamecocks out in front in this game. Cam Jones, Garrett St. Hilaire. Jacksonville State shooting now 43% from 3, only 30% overall. That 3 ball is a powerful weapon on offense, for
sure. Can certainly get you into any game, and in Jacksonville State's case, can blow a game wide open. And Jacksonville State for the season shooting about 35%. So here today, really feeling it from the 3-point line, and they average about 7 made 3-pointers a game. Tennessee State sitting right at about 8 3-pointers a game made on the season. Tennessee State, one of the better shooting teams by percentage in the OVC.
And the best 3-point shooter on the team. Doesn't even have a 3 attempt yet. That's Torian Ware. So the Gamecocks back out to a 9-point lead. Kane Henry. Point of this press. Littlejohn is trapped in the corner. Throws it ahead and gets it to Egbuda. Has it knocked away from behind by Derek Cook. Nice hustle by Cook. Looked like Tennessee State had beaten it that time.
That was a 2-on-1 transition, and Derek Cook, as you said, just comes from behind, picks the pocket, and Rude's right there for the steal.
And he misses his first 3-point attempt. Littlejohn dribbles it up against Ty Hudson. Kone out for the screen. Egbuda drives on Robe, spins and misses, but got his own miss and put it back in. So nice play there by the 6'7" senior from the Bronx, New York. Well, you talk about Egbuda and Kone in there. That's 2 big, strong guys for Tennessee State.
And athletic as well in the case of Egbuda, you just saw there in the offensive possession.
Hudson pulls up, misses his first jump shot of the night. Littlejohn drives. Good defense by Robe affecting that shot. Ahead to Kane Henry. Henry tries another three, misses this one long. And Marshall brings it up for the Tigers. Marshall pulls the trigger on a long three and misses. Kone kept that one alive, but Robe able to come up with a loose ball. Ahead to Harden. Reverse left-handed layup is good.
Good job by Harden just getting out ahead of the Tennessee State defense, and it kind of ends an ugly little scoring drought. Both teams really not taking great shots.
First basket of the game for Harden. And it's back to a 9-point JSU lead, their largest of the night. Little John cut off on the drive. 5 to shoot. Tries again. Tough shot over Henry, an air ball, but Marshall there to put it in.
Offensive rebounding, again, a big key for Tennessee State now, the 8th offensive board.
Henry gets it over to Harden. Hudson pops out. Swing it over to Jones. Here's Harden on the right wing, back to Hudson. Robe is posted against Kone. Here goes Jones, little runner is an air ball. Robe, though, with the offensive rebound and puts it in.
And it looks a lot like how Tennessee State just scored off of a shot that falls short. Robe's right there to put it out.
Little John. Harris has it on the baseline. I'll show you Ed Buda, and he dribbles it off his foot out of bounds. It'll go over to Jacksonville State. Cross comes in. Zelisnak's back in. Also substitutions for Coach Collins as he sends Harris, Washington, and Johnson back in the game. Gamecocks with the ball and a 9-point lead. Just over 4 minutes left in our first half. Big weekend for the JSU softball team coming up this weekend. We'll have JSU softball coach Jana McGinnis join us at halftime. One of the most successful softball programs in the OVC. We'll talk JSU softball at halftime. Harris's three is no good. Jakar Cross able to control the rebound. Under 4 we go. Gamecocks trying to make it a double-digit lead on this possession. Hook with a dish to Cross on the baseline. Nice reverse. Jakara showing how limber he is there.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot from Kane Henry, and that time Jakara Cross.
He's got a smirk on his face too, Gerhard. Look at it.
He knew it.
He can't wait to see that one on film. Little John lost it, but lucky for him, it wound up going off a JSU player. Coach Harper got to feel a little better about his team now as the press has really opened up the game for the Gamecocks. Jacksonville State leading Tennessee State. 3.5 to go here in our first half. .3:27 to play in our first half from Pete Matthews Coliseum on the campus of Jacksonville State. Gamecocks leading Tennessee State 27-16. And the Tigers will inbound with 14 to shoot.
Take a look there, the rebounds. Jacksonville State down on the boards, up on the scoreboard. Meanwhile, Tennessee State collecting 24 rebounds overall, 8 of them offensive rebounds, which have led to 10 second chance points.
Little John, finally Gerhard, he hits one of those long threes.
And finally for Tennessee State, they're saying they can get a three-pointer to go down. They're now 1 of 8.
Pulls the Tigers to within 8. Pass intended for Harden, knocked out of bounds. So Cook will trigger it in from just in front of the Tennessee State bench into Ty Hudson. Hudson shoots the three, misses. Rebound taken down by Harris. Here come the Tigers. Little John. Pass on the right wing. Shot is no good by Washington. Here comes Cook. Hudson to Cross. Shot blocked by Johnson. And then a little frustration foul there by Jakar. Nice defense inside by Shaquem Johnson.
Johnson's played well all game long in the post on offense, and then there you see it on defense. Watch Johnson battle for this one off a cross miss. Just ripped it away from him. Good aggressive basketball by Johnson, and as you said, led to the foul by Cross, his first.
And Kane Henry's going to check into the game as Zelisnak will go out. Tigers bring it up the court. Little John working against St. Hilaire. Out top to Harris. Johnson tried to hit an open Marshall in the corner, but it's knocked out of bounds, and the Tigers will inbound with 12 on the shot clock.
Yeah, dangerous pass there. Derek Cook, though, got his hands on the basketball right before it went out of bounds. Interesting call here for Tennessee State. 12 seconds, you can run your entire offense here on this possession. We'll find out what Coach Collins wants to do here.
Washington lays it in. Nice passing there by the Tigers. Good unselfish basketball. Pulls them within 6. Under 2 to play first half. Tigers in a zone now. Henry to St. Hilaire. Pulls up from the baseline, and nice touch from about 15 feet. Derek St. Hilaire, point number 8 here in the first half. He's already at his average. Washington fouled on the shot attempt. Free throws coming up now for Jalen Washington.
Take another look here at the foul. Double team there by Cross and Henry, which led to the foul, which will send Washington to the line.
78% free throw shooter on the season is Jalen Washington. They shoot it pretty well as a team from the line. Washington 100% on that trip. Egbuda's going to come into the game, and Washington will take a seat. Gamecocks walk it up the court, 6-point lead. Just over a minute to play in our first half. Cross posted against Johnson. Nice move, but could not get the shot to go down. Harris almost traveled, but got it away to Little John. Pulls up, shoots one of those long threes, and see now why he's shooting them.
Exactly. Just like Jacksonville State got ahead, pulled away with a big lead, knocking down those 3-point shots. Very same thing for Tennessee State here as Little John knocks down yet another one. Just a nice little step back, reminiscent of kind of what James Harden does. And a little jab step inside and knocks down the 3-pointer.
Now 2 for 5 from behind the arc. He has 8 points here in the first half. Cuts the lead to 3, so Tennessee State trying to close the half. Strong here against Jacksonville State.
We mentioned how big this game is for both teams, sitting at 4-4 in the conference. Oh, let's say Jacksonville State or Tennessee State wins their next 2 tonight and Saturday. That's the difference of going in between 3rd place or losing 2 in a row, and that's down to 8th place. This is monster. These 2 games here for Jacksonville State and for Tennessee State are really big, and Tennessee State will continue on the road. They'll be at Tennessee Tech on Saturday.
Yeah, we're well past the halfway point of the conference schedule, so it's a cliche, but they're all big right now. Cook got it back, finds Henry in the corner, but the 3 is blocked by Johnson. You mentioned he's been playing great defense, got a block shot there. Marshall takes it all the way, but Kane Henry returns the favor with a block.
Nothing easy by the basket for either team. As Henry once again flexing his muscle with his 2nd block already. He had 2 blocks the other night. That time goes out of bounds, 25 on the shot clock.
Into Johnson, back to Little John. Cut off by Cross. Double teamed in the corner, gets it to Johnson. Johnson with a nice extension, avoided charging against Henry. Somehow able to bank that one in, making it a 1-point game now. Tennessee State on a 7-0 run over the last 55 seconds.
Looks like about a half-second difference between the shot clock and game clock here, so Jacksonville State looks like they'll trim it down to one shot.
Cook against Marshall, makes his move, takes it all the way, reverse layup is good. Derek Cook with his second basket, basically at the halftime buzzer, to give Jacksonville State a 3-point lead here at the break. A good one here between 2 4-4 teams out of the Ohio Valley Conference. We'll be back with more. A strong finish to the first half. Made this a 3-point game for the home team. Jacksonville State leading Tennessee State.
Yeah, that 3-point lead due in large part to what Jacksonville State's done behind the 3-point line. Neither team shooting particularly great in this game. 37.5% for the Tigers, just over 32% for Jacksonville State. Meanwhile, the Tigers dominating on the boards, 29-14, including 8 offensive rebounds. Just led to a bunch of second half points. And Tennessee State has to crack down on the turnovers here in the second half. Meanwhile, Coach Harper has to love just one turnover there in the first half for the Gamecocks. They'll have to see if they can keep it up there in the second half.
Back with highlights from our first half in just a moment here on ESPN+. And we continue here at halftime at Pete Matthews Coliseum. Jacksonville State leading Tennessee State by 3 here at the break. We've talked about the importance of this game for these two teams. A look around the league, we see Austin Peay and Murray State, the two teams still undefeated in league play, both with leads so far tonight. And of course, the team coming in here on Saturday, Belmont, just getting going with Tennessee Tech. Yeah,
there's some really good games across the board. Belmont, as you said, comes in here a little bit later on. And meanwhile, the team that's playing tonight, Tennessee State, will play Tennessee Tech on Saturday. So both teams watching that game, and then some of the games that are already done. Morehead State with a win over SEMO, and Eastern Kentucky came into today number 3 in the league with a 99-86 win over UT Martin.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by JSU softball coach Jana McGinnis. Stay tuned for that halftime conversation coming up next. And welcome back inside Pete Matthews Coliseum, OVC Hoops, here on ESPN Plus from Jacksonville State University. We're back at halftime. Well, both teams only combined for 5 threes in that first half, 5 of 21, Gerhard, but they all seem to come right at the end of the half.
Yeah, really timely baskets for both teams. Really in the last 3 or so minutes, Littlejohn knocking down 2 for Tennessee State, and a myriad of players getting their way from the 3-point line in the second half for Jacksonville State, and see if both teams can keep that up here in the second.
Here we go. A lot at stake for these two teams over the final 20 minutes of this one. Gamecocks begin the second half with the ball and the 3-point lead. Henry posted against Washington, makes the move, misses the shot. Marshall with a rebound. You know, we mentioned in the first half, this JSU team is unique, and it's kind of one of those any given night, a guy can step up. Your 2 leading scorers don't even start on most nights. Your leading scorer tonight has played the second least amount of minutes. Detorian Ware has only been on the court for about 4.5 minutes tonight.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that Coach Harper has done with his team. And like you said, there's so many different players that can't step up at any given time. And we talked about the 3-point shooting to start this half, and that's where Detorian Ware has been great. But just a quiet day so far from behind the arc, or just in the game in general. We'll see what Coach Harper tries to use as a strategy here in the second half, because he has so many different kinds of weapons. And it looked like the first half they're going all inside. And speaking of going inside, Shaquem Johnson's been great at that. Started in the first half, and he's continued here in the second.
4 straight points for Johnson. Gives his team a 1-point lead. Johnson now the first player in the game for either team to hit double figures. Johnson now with 10. Elias Harden pulls up, 3 rims out. Knocked loose though by Henry to the floor. Washington and Robe go, a whistle and a foul against Henry. Coach Harper is going to get Jakar Cross in the game quickly.
Mark Robe will come out and see the Elias Harden missed 3-pointer And on the rebound, yeah, you saw Henry tug the back of the jersey of Jalen Washington. And so they'll tag Henry for a second.
Little John hands off to Marshall. Over to Washington. He drives against Henry. Nice defense by Kane. And a travel against Washington. So Kane Henry, good defense that time.
And he knew it too as soon as it happened. And the turnovers continue to mount up for Tennessee State. And now 10 turnovers in the game. They average about 12 per game. They gave up a lot there in the first half. Jacksonville State, meanwhile, didn't turn the ball over too much. So Tennessee State, the bright spot is that you have a 1-point lead and you're turning the ball over a lot more than JSU has.
Henry short on the 3. Offensive rebound for the Gamecocks. Inside to Cross. Working against Harris, and he shoots an air ball. So the Gamecocks yet to score here in the second half. Littlejohn in a whole kind of trouble. Gets it to Johnson, who takes it in. Johnson's got 6 points here to start the second half. He's outscored everybody 6-zip. He's got 12 now in the game.
Yeah, in conference games, he has been sensational, averaging about 10.4 points per game. Already has 12 as Cook knocks down the 3.
Cook with a 3, giving him 7 points. JSU finally breaks the scoring drought here in the second half. Tied up at 34. Littlejohn pulls up. Shot off the back of the iron. Cook with the rebound. Cook drives. Fouled as he went up. Johnson got him. So Derek Cook asserting himself early in the second half here for the Gamecocks.
Already with 7 points, and as you saw, just going right at Johnson, who's had a great game. Those 10 points, but now his first foul of the game. He would not be an easy guy to shoot over. Shaquem Johnson stands 6'7". They also have 6'9" Jalen Washington down there in the post. First foul, team foul and personal for Shaquem Johnson, who will come out.
Ekbuda's in for Coach Collins. Derek Cook, a 60% free throw shooter, made the first and makes the second. He's got 9 points in the game. Full court press. This was really good to Jacksonville State in the first half. And it's good right away.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue these results here, and especially when this press is on. So many of these turnovers caused in the press. Now 11 turnovers for Tennessee State.
Tennessee State may not see anything but that the rest of the way.
I think with Coach Harper, with as many bodies as he rotates throughout the course of the game.
Only problem with it is the officials have to look and see who the ball went out of bounds on.
Who went out of bounds on it? If it went straight out of bounds, they go for the baseline. If it was off of a player, it will go on the sideline. They say nobody touched it, so JSU will inbounds it from the exact same place Tennessee State did.
Cook gets it into Harden. Cook gives it back to Harden. Henry is posted against Ekbuda. Henry makes his move, back to Harden. Step back 3, tough shot, misses it short. Marshall with the rebound.
Well-designed play, just missed the 3-point shot from Jacksonville State.
Marshall guarded by Ty Hudson, dishes it to Ekbuda, back to Marshall. He pulls up, misses it, gets the rebound, does Ekbuda, and he dunks it home and draws the foul. Yeah, give yourself a hand, young man. That was an outstanding play.
This was just great effort, individual effort by Ekbuda. It goes up strong to the basket off the missed shot. We talked about offensive rebounds, and that's exactly what this team does well. And the strength there of Ekbuda, and as you said, he looks like a football player with his size and strength, and he comes in strong with that one.
Ekbuda misses the free throw. Tied at 36. Half-court pressure here by the Tigers. Derek St. Hilaire is in the game, as is Zelesnak. Cross against Ekbuda. Banks it in. 2-point lead now for the Gamecocks. Littlejohn into Egbuda, contact with Cross, and they're going to call a charging foul against Egbuda. Here's the previous play again, Egbuda and the Tigers in a battle with the Gamecocks here in Jacksonville. Gamecocks with a 2-point lead. 15:48 to play here in the second half. Take a look at the previous foul called against Egbuda.
Called charge call on Egbuda after the great play before. Oh, excuse me, they called a block there on Jakar Cross.
Changed the call.
That's right. That's exactly what they were looking at the break-in. Made the change.
Littlejohn dishes to Egbuda. Another dunk for the senior from Bronx, New York. Cook dribbles over to the right wing, inside to Cross, and a foul inside against Jacksonville State. Gonna get Jakar Cross for his second foul. Gamecocks led by as many as 9 in that first half. Tennessee State with a strong finish to the first half and a good start to this second half. And they got a 2-point lead here as Wesley Harris knocks down the jump shot.
Set up by the excellent pump fake as well. Got the defender in the air and then knocks down the perimeter jumper.
Ball at the free throw line into Zelesnak. Back to St. Hilaire. So he misses the three. Rebound taken down by Marshall. Ahead it comes to Harris. St. Hilaire all over him. And Zelesnak coming up with a steal. And Hudson able to chase it down. Here come the Gamecocks. The dish to Cook. In the corner to St. Hilaire. Back to Cook. 3-point shot is no good. Washington with the rebound. Needs some help. Up it comes to Harris. He dribbles past St. Hilaire. Inside it goes to Washington. Egbuda wasn't ready for it. 2 to shoot. Marshall pulls the trigger on a long 3, no good, and Harris over the back of St. Hilaire. Gamecock fans wanted a foul, no whistle. Inside to Egbuda. In the corner to Washington. His 3 no good. Cook with a rebound. St. Hilaire with a nice pump fake. His jump shot is no good. Littlejohn with the ball. Takes it all the way. Draws the foul. Gamecocks can't believe it. But it'll be a 2-shot opportunity for Michael Littlejohn. Coach Harper shows his disgust with the call.
Yep, they're going to call this one on Maroche Zelesnak, his second personal foul. And he goes right into the lane, and watch the aggressiveness of Littlejohn getting into the post. Zelesnak with his second foul there.
Michael Littlejohn, 75% free throw shooter. Makes his first for a 3-point lead. Detorian Ware, Cam Jones come in for Jacksonville State. Jack Johnson's back in. Washington goes out for Tennessee State. Detorian Ware, the leading scorer for Jacksonville State, only played about 4.5 minutes in that first half and did not take a shot. See if he can get going here in the second half. 4-point lead for the Tigers. They have outscored the Gamecocks 14-7 in the first 7 minutes of the second half. 6-0 run over the last 2-13 for the Tigers. Cam Jones is fouled by Carlos Marshall. So free throws coming for the redshirt freshman from Memphis. Cam hasn't shot many free throws, only 42% from the field so far this year as we see the replay.
Good defense there, but ends up with a foul. Spoke about Derek St. Hilaire and Torian Ware. Torian Ware of the last couple of games has knocked down 6 3-point shots. He was 3 for 7 in the loss against Eastern Kentucky, and then another 3 for 7 against Morehead State. Very quiet half here, and you have to think that he might be the difference right now of Jacksonville State's lack of scoring so far, not being able to get production from him.
Well, both free throws off the mark for Cam Jones. Kane Henry's back in the game. A very un-Kane-like game so far, though. Henry 6 points, but only 2 for 10 from the field. Egbuda, nice spin move, but better defense by Zelesnak. But another offensive rebound. Johnson having a monster game, especially here in this second half. He now has 14 points to lead his team in scoring tonight. Torian Ware dribbles in the lane, dishes to Zelesnak. He goes up, misses the layup. Gets his own rebound, and he's hacked on the way up. So Maros Zelesnak will head to the free throw line.
Taking a look here at the effort. Egbuda and Zelesnak going at it. They call Egbuda for his first foul.
Zelesnak misses, so Gamecocks have missed 3 straight free throws. Say, this bunch has got some size and strength inside. You talk about Egbuda, Johnson, got Kone, Washington. They can make you work down low. Another missed free throw, Gerhard, so those start adding up on you. Gamecocks have missed 4 straight, 2 by Jones and those 2 by Zelesnak. 6-point lead for the Tigers. Harris working against Jones, pulls up, takes a tough shot, misses it. Kane Henry comes down with a rebound. Ware at the top of the key, drives. His runner is good, so Torian Ware is finally in the scoring column, and that's a good sign for Gamecock fans.
Yeah, I think that Torian Ware just needed to see the ball go into the basket. That time had the three-pointer, it was covered, goes into the lane and knocks down the floater. I think just to see one of those shots go in could be really great for confidence for Jacksonville State.
First shot he's taken all night. See if that gets him going. Littlejohn drives in among the Giants. Take your pick there. Henry was down there, Zelesnak. Tennessee State with a 4-point lead here in the second half on the road in Jacksonville. 11-14 left in our second half, and Tennessee State and Jacksonville State. A good one here in Jacksonville. A couple of 4-4 teams out of the OVC. A huge game for both here in conference play. Littlejohn is at the free throw line, trying to add to the Tigers' 4-point lead. Littlejohn doesn't get the roll. 75% free throw shooter. Is now 2 for 3 at the line tonight. Makes the second. He's got 11 points in the game. So the Gamecocks walk it up the floor, down by 5. And Egbuda a little too aggressive out on the perimeter.
Yep, that'll be a second foul, and they'll call that one all the time, and especially for a guy like Egbuda who plays so aggressively down low. You hate to see fouls like that. Watch here once again, just trying to get a little bit of leverage, and they'll call that hand check all the time, though.
Jones gives it up to Kane Henry. Torian Ware lobs it into Cross. He works against Egbuda. That's two strong guys going at it. Cross muscles it up, misses. Ball is loose. It winds up with Cross on the floor. We're going to have a jump ball. And it's going to go over to the Tigers.
Jakar Cross was trying to get a timeout when the ball got back down in his lap. You see him shaking his head there. But tried to get the ball, but the referee said that Donnie Malone had his hand on the ball before the timeout call. Coach Harper not in agreement on that call.
Gamecocks have now dipped under 30% shooting, 28.6% shooting from the field. Egbuda's having himself a pretty good second half as he's now in double figures with 10.
To get the kind of production they're getting both from Johnson and Egbuda, it speaks highly of Coach Collins' bunch, because both Carlos Marshall and Michael Littlejohn's having a solid game, but getting a lot of effort here from guys down low.
Torian Ware got his own rebound and missed the putback, but he does draw the foul. So Torian Ware will take his first trip to the free throw line tonight, 78% shooter. And I do think it's important to kind of try to get him going.
Yeah, you have to, especially with the frequency he can score with. It's not like you have to set up a whole bunch of plays for him. He can shoot contested, and as you saw earlier on the floater, he can dribble, drive, and penetrate, and he's got great vision. And I think this kind of scoring drought that Jacksonville State's gone through is due in large part to the fact that he's not been able to get on the board there. Jacksonville State 1 of 8 and for the last field goals, and they have not been shooting great at the line either.
No, they were 8 for 8 at the line at halftime. And they are now 1 for 6 here in the second half. Here's that press. That's really been the one constant that's worked for them tonight. As we reach the midway point of the second half, Gamecocks trying to get after him defensively. Littlejohn trapped at half court. And we're going to have an over and back. So again, the press produces. I don't know why they're getting out of it.
Yeah, and you would think that with the amount of bodies, every now and again you would think, well, with the amount of bodies they have rolling in, they wouldn't have to. But once again, another situation where they cause a turnover off the press. And
it's almost like it's produced a turnover every time they've gotten in it.
Seemingly so. 13 turnovers for Tennessee State on the day.
Harden passed up the shot, tried to pass it to St. Hilaire, who missed the bank shot, and a cross foul over the back.
That might be 5 for him.
Harden might like that one back. He probably would have just took that shot. Now we're in a bonus situation as Johnson will head to the other end and shoot free throws. Third foul on Jakar Cross.
I was thinking of Kane Henry, who's got 4, not Cross. Excuse me.
Johnson misses the free throw. Torian Ware with a rebound. St. Hilaire is open. Misses the 3. Torian Ware battling Harris, and he's going to be called for the foul. We are going to have a lot of free throws the rest of this one.
This is where fundamentals will take over as Ty Hudson comes back into the game for Jacksonville State. Wesley Harris on the line for Tennessee State. It was kind of a well-played first half as far as fouls go and team fouls go, but it's been really physical here in the second.
Harris now with 5 points in the game. .76% shooter makes them both. Largest lead, I believe, for Tennessee State, 8. 8-point lead for the Tigers. Jones dribbles around the top of the key, now takes it to the basket, draws the contact from Johnson, I think, is who will be whistled for the foul. Second on him.
I think that will be Jacksonville State's go-to here with the three-point shot, just not falling here in the second half the way they did at the end of the first half. Just attack the big guys down low. Egbuda and Johnson. It's been a while since we've seen Kone on the floor for Tennessee State, but I think the game plan from here is just to go inside and see if you can get either an easy layup or get to the free throw line.
Jones has now missed 3 free throws here in the second half.
It's got to be really frustrating for Jacksonville State, who have struggled at the free throw line at different parts throughout the season as a team. You mentioned it earlier, shooting 68%.
It makes a second, so they can set up the press. Little John slipped down, got back up, gives it up to Marshall. Now Little John. Cross cuts him off. Marshall is open, shoots a 3, misses. Victorian Ware couldn't get the rebound. It's loose. Jakar Cross corrals it. Harden open. Hits the 3. Harris ahead of the field, and he gets the dunk on the other end.
Very short-lived celebration for Jacksonville State on the three-point shot. Kane Henry, or Elias Harden, finally making a three-pointer for JSU, but don't get back in time for the dunk.
Jones drives and banks it in. Boy, Cam Jones emerging as the season progresses here. Redshirt freshman from Memphis getting more and more playing time. He's in there at a crucial time right now in a big game. Crowd really getting into it now. 4-point Tennessee State lead. Marshall picked up by Ware, lobs inside to Johnson. He's double teamed on the baseline. Now he gets it back, drives, and runs over Cross. It's a charging foul against Carlos Marshall. And that'll take us to immediate timeout. 7:49 to play in this one. Tennessee State clinging to a 4-point lead here in Jacksonville. 7:49 to play in our second half. Tennessee State led by as many as 8 here in the second half. Gamecocks have cut it to 4. And the Gamecocks will have the ball.
Take another look here at the replay of their last foul there. Jakar Cross on the charge. Falls to the floor, sacrifices his body once again, so that's the second foul on Carlos Marshall.
Cam Jones, crossover at the line, takes it strong, shot rejected. Another great defensive play by Johnson. Marshall on the other end has his shot blocked. They're going to call a goaltend, however, against Jakar Cross.
We'll see here. Jacksonville State fans thought it was a clean block. But the officials saw the ball going down and award Tennessee State 2 points.
Back to a 6-point lead. Tigers in a 2-3 zone now. Victorian Ware takes advantage, misses the 3. That's his first chance at a 3 tonight. With 7 minutes to play in the game. Gamecocks still shooting it poorly at Gerhard overall, 28% from the field.
Yeah, this is just not a great scoring effort. It felt like the barrage of scoring really came at the end of the first half and nothing consistent since then.
Tennessee State, though, shooting 45%, so give them credit. Little John at the end of the shot clock fired it up, shot clock violation. So a good defensive stand that time by the Gamecocks.
This is a nice little sequence here between the block by Johnson on one end, the very next possession for Tennessee State. They'll call this a goaltend on Jakar Cross. It looked pretty close. Officials say the ball was coming down. 2 points for Tennessee State to increase their lead.
Derek Cook is back in the game, as is Ty Hudson. Tennessee State staying in the zone. Hudson Over to Harden. Shoots another three. Misses this one. Harris with a rebound. One of the reasons we haven't seen the press more often is you got to make shots to set it up. And
exactly.
when you're shooting poorly, it is going to limit how many times you can set up the full court press.
And JSU's in a little bit of foul trouble as well. I wonder if Coach Harper is trying to stay away from the double bonus.
Gamecocks ball again. Another opportunity to cut into the 6-point lead. Over to Ware. Baseline to Cross. And a charging foul against Jakar Cross. Taken by Johnson. Tennessee State bench. Loving that call. That'll be number 4 on Jakar Cross.
This has been an excellent matchup between Jakar Cross and Johnson down low, and that time Johnson doing what Jakar Cross just did moments ago, sacrificing his body and picking up the charge. The inside pass to Cross. You can't talk enough about the efforts of Shaquem Johnson.
JSU a little bit of a scoring drought, as you see, only 2 of 11, the last 2:29. This has been a really physical second half.
Surely has, and I think both teams understand the gravity of this moment in this game. Both teams understanding at 4-4, you can't expect to have yet another loss on the record. Tennessee State trying to break a 3-game losing skid.
In the corner to Ware, couldn't shoot it. The pass was a little high. Cross with a tap in. 4-point lead now for the Tigers. Littlejohn dribbles over to the left wing. Johnson is posted against the smaller Hudson. Cross helps. Johnson got the shot off. Washington with the rebound, fouled on the way back up. Tennessee State working the boards.
Another offensive rebound for Tennessee State. Jalen Washington will go back to the free throw line.
They're killing the Gamecocks on the boards. 20 more rebounds for Tennessee State than Jacksonville State. 48-28 rebounding advantage. I don't think anybody's out-rebounded them by that margin this whole season.
Not at all. Not this entire season. Jacksonville State, one of the better rebounding teams in the OVC, but Tennessee State, the best as far as offensive rebounds go, and one of the best in general.
They got a lot of size on the floor now with Washington, Harris, Johnson. Cross fouled on the layup attempt inside. So Jakar Cross will head to the line. You see the replay. Cross will only a 61% shooter at the line this season. They are all big now. Gamecocks have missed 5 here in the second half. Cross gets the first one to drop.
Spoke about that rebounding margin. Tennessee State, second in the league in rebounding margin at 5.9. And the way this game is going, they'll extend that way further, almost up by 20 boards by that count.
Cross makes them both. He's up to 12 points now. He'll go out. Zelesnak comes in to give him a breather. And they set up the press after the made free throws. Marshall brings it across half court. Washington now back to Marshall. Marshall to Johnson. Turn around, left-handed shot. Falls in over Moros Zelesnak. Johnson now with 16 points in the game. He is well above his average of 9.6 this season. Harden flashes in the lane, left the shot short. Well, the Gamecocks can't miss on those opportunities. We got 2 injured players. That is Elias Harden and Marshall, and it looks like they collided down low. Harden favoring his left or right knee, and Marshall is really hurting down on the floor.
Yeah, he is still down. That left leg has just been shaking, and trying to see there what is exactly ailing him. Looks like it might either be a knee or an ankle, but he's walking off on his own power, which is a good sign.
We said this has been a physical second half. We'll take a break. A little under 4 minutes to play. OVC Basketball on ESPN+. 5-point lead for Tennessee State, 3:51 to play. The Tigers will have the basketball. Gerhard, Jacksonville State, 17 of 61 from the field tonight, 27.9%.
Yeah, one of the worst shooting days for JSU in this gym all year long. He's taking another look here at what sent us to break. Both Littlejohn and Harden both falling to the ground, and looks like neither player is out there right now. It's just like Carlos Marshall and Harden. Marshall is back in there.
Inside to Johnson. Guarded by Cross. Makes his move. And he double dribbles.
He just got kind of lost in the air there, so to speak. His post move has been working great down low, but good post defense by Jakar Cross. And for like a half second, he just slips his mind that he picked up his dribble for a second. They could have called a carry or a double dribble there.
Cook over to Hudson. Into Cross. Against Johnson, and puts it in with the left hand. Jakar Cross up to 14 points now. It's a 3-point game.
Streaky day of shooting for Jakar Cross, but he's creeping back up to where he normally is down low.
Washington makes a move against Kane Henry, who's come back in the game, gets his own rebound and puts it in and draws the foul against Henry. Good work inside by Washington, and again, we talked about the rebounding. They're just killing the Gamecocks.
Especially on the offensive boards. They came into this game third in the league in that category. Kane Henry now with his 5th foul, and after 3 great games, 3 or 4 incredible games for Kane Henry, a quiet 6-point outing for him, and you had to know that he was a part of the scouting report for Tennessee State. They saw what he did in the last couple of games, 23 points and 16 rebounds in the last outing, and here, getting the 5th foul, he's out for the game.
Another timeout on the floor. Tennessee State with a 6-point lead, 2:57 to play. So Kane Henry's night is done. He's on the bench with those 5 fouls. The Gamecocks will have to finish the game without Henry. Down by 6 with the ball. Here come the Gamecocks, just under 3 to play in the game. Ware shoots a 3, misses it off the back of the iron. Cross goes up high, saved it over to Hudson. Back to Cross, who lays it in. Nice effort there by Cross, and a nice look by Hudson.
Yeah, Hudson's great at that, coming off that point guard position where he played last year. Good court vision finding Cross.
Tigers beat the press. 2.5 to play. Littlejohn trying to get it to Johnson. He goes up, lays it in. Johnson's fine night continues. 18 points for Johnson. Hudson drives, cut off by Harris, and it's stolen by Johnson. Gamecocks can ill afford turnovers at this point, and nice Euro step by Wesley Harris to lay it in for an 8-point lead for Tennessee State as we go under 2 to play.
Not great basketball for JSU. Done a great job all game long, not turning the ball over, and a couple of turnovers back to back. Only have 3 on the game, but very timely ones as Hudson gets fouled here.
Hudson comes up gimpy. Little John made contact on the way by. Hudson has yet to score in the game. He's 0 for 4 from the field. First trip to the free throw line for the senior from Baton Rouge, a 78% free throw shooter, and the Gamecocks need them both obviously now. And Hudson misses the first.
Normally a 70% free throw shooter. Toward the end of the non-conference part of the schedule, he was big in scoring, but he has been silent since then.
Hudson makes the second. Elias Harden is going to check in for Datorian Ware. Ware just could never really get going tonight. 1 for 5 from the field. And that one basket coming here in the second half. Cook knocks it out of bounds. The Tigers will have 5 seconds to get it across half court.
Looks like the officials will look this one over to find out who knocked this ball out, and you'll see for yourself. Now, I think it's off Jacksonville State. So it will be Tennessee State basketball, unless we'll see something a little bit different here on this replay. It's good hands by Derek Cook, but I think they'll call this out on JSU. 2 really good looks here from our crew. Slight possible chance there, went off on Marshall. Not sure if they'll have enough with those 2 looks, but officials leaving no stone unturned in this big game, as we said, for both teams. Tennessee State was down 3 at the half, but the first 7-8 minutes of the first half was really the pivotal point for the Tigers. And this is a Tennessee State team that gave up 90 points twice in the last 3 games. Take another look here. The replay is Cook goes after the ball, knocks it out. So they'll call this one on Tennessee State. They'll call this one out on Jacksonville State.
I think the replay showed us that it was a possibility, but showed us no certainty.
Exactly. So as you said, that's exactly what their officials are explaining right now. 5 seconds to get the ball over.
Marshall throws it ahead for Harris. Goes up over Hudson and makes the catch. Scores a touchdown.
That's just a great play call for Coach Penny Collins. 2 guys, to continue your football metaphor, double covered there by the safety in the corner, and doesn't matter.
Hudson's 3 is no good. Rebound by Harris. They have just been so strong inside tonight, Gerhard. Rebounding. Been strong in the paint tonight. Cook with a nice steal from behind. It's a 2-on-1 Euro step. Cook misses the layup. Washington with the rebound. Gamecocks miss another opportunity. And Marshall fouled as he comes across half court.
Tennessee State, the key to the game now is knock down the free throws, and they'll walk out of here with their first victory in the last 4 games. You know, over the course of the last 4 games, they gave up 99 points just a few days ago in a loss at Austin Peay. Gave up 92 points to Eastern Kentucky. They've just had a brutal, tough part of the schedule. Played top 3 teams in the league and then scored 64 in a loss at Murray State. They're here at JSU looking to come away with their first win in a long time. They started conference play 4-1. But as you said, lost the last 3 in a row.
Marshall misses the first free throw. Hits the second. 10-point lead, largest of the night for the Tigers. They apply a little full court pressure. The lob to Cross, he dunks it. Gamecocks use one of their 3 remaining timeouts, as it's now an 8-point game with 51.9.
Well-designed play, watching transition. It's Jakar Cross finishing off the dunk, off the nice pass from Harden.
Well, after this game, Tennessee State will head to take on Tennessee Tech, Austin Peay, Murray State, Belmont, and Tech again. That's a tough schedule.
It's a very, very tough schedule. They'll take on the number 9 team, and then 2 teams that are Murray and then meanwhile, Jacksonville State will ignite on Saturday night. Then Southeast Missouri, they head to, will go play SEMO, and then UT Martin on the road. A couple more road games at Cookeville, Tennessee against Tech, and then in Nashville to take on Belmont. So one more home game to finish off this 4-game stretch here for JSU, and then it's 4 straight on the road.
Belmont comes in here Saturday, and they are winning by 19 right now. Looks as though they'll be 6-3 in the league when they get here Saturday. Harris fouled. It's almost though the official reacted to Harris grabbing his face. That's what Coach Harper's complaining about.
Harper thinks it wasn't a foul, just necessarily Harris's reaction to it. Either way, he'll go to the free throw line and try to extend this lead.
Another timeout taken here at 48 seconds to play.
Well, we thought for a half second that the 3-point barrage that we saw at the end of the first half by both teams, knocked down 5 of them, we thought that might be the start of something for both teams in the second half. Tennessee State has not hit a 3-pointer since then. They're still sitting on those 2 made 3-pointers, and Jacksonville State only hit 2 after that. Both teams just abysmal from beyond the arc. 2 of 14 for Tennessee State, and 5 of 23 for Jacksonville State.
But you know, if you look at any game and say, we're going to shoot 48% and we're going to be out rebounding our opponent by 22 rebounds with a minute to go, you're going to say you're ahead.
Exactly.
And that's where we are right here with Tennessee State. 48% shooting on the road here at Pete Matthews, out rebounding Jacksonville State 51-29.
What this game does for Jacksonville State, in my opinion, it just puts so much pressure on that Belmont game. Had chances to win in the Eastern Kentucky game. Lost a close one there, had chances to win here, and lost a close one here. Meanwhile, Tennessee State, after a couple of big blowouts, just knockout punches by the top teams in the league, give a whole lot of credit to the guys from Nashville coming in here and winning a monster game for them to go above 500.
Marshall has 13 rebounds. He's one of the leading rebounders for them tonight. Hudson pulls up. His leaner is no good. And there's Johnson with another rebound. Ahead to Little John. Ware's going to foul him. So Little John has had himself a good game. Hit a couple of big threes late in that first half. Part of that 3-point barrage Gerhard was speaking of. Little John makes the first free throw. He's 4 of 5 from the line tonight. Egbuda's coming back in. He's had a fine game also. So a 12-point lead after the free throws. 36 seconds left. Tennessee State, after trailing the Gamecocks by 3 at halftime, they're seconds away from picking up a huge conference win on the road as Cook banks it in, makes it a 10-point game. Gamecocks set up the press. Washington is fouled right away by Hudson. And Washington is a 78% free throw shooter. 4 of 5 from the line tonight.
For this season, Jacksonville State has not won a game where they have not scored at least 64 points. And I think the magic number for JSU is in the 70s, usually between 70 and 73 points. They play good enough defense to come away with wins there, but outside of scoring a few more points here, they'll run that number once again to another loss when the offense just isn't on. And there's just a lot of places it could have come from. And just no go tonight. And then give a whole lot of credit to Tennessee State. Just dominated on the boards. And didn't even have to call on some of their main guys to do it. They got contributions from guys like Kone and Jalen Washington. Give a lot of credit to their top scorers, their top guys tonight. Egbuda and Littlejohn, who had a phenomenal game. They'll come away with another win, and they'll be right where they normally sit from a scoring perspective. They came into this game averaging 73 points per contest.
Here's Donnie Malone, the junior from Memphis, his first trip to the line tonight. Barring a big comeback here, Gamecocks are going to fall to 1-2 here on this 4-game homestand, with Belmont coming in Saturday. Then after Belmont, they've got 4 straight road games.
That's right, and just the way the schedule stacks up for them, Jacksonville State, these 4 home games were really, really big. Meanwhile, Tennessee State coming off a big 4-game stretch on the road. They'll get a few games back at home before hitting the road again.
Hudson to Ware in the corner. His 3 is short. Tennessee State with the rebound. Gamecocks choose not to foul here, and the Tigers can just dribble it out. And they're going to pick up a huge road victory tonight here in Jacksonville as they beat the Gamecocks 72-62. They improved to 5-4 in league play. Jacksonville State falls to 4-5. So for Gerhard Mathangani, I'm Mickey Shadrick saying so long from Jacksonville, where your final score, Tennessee State knocking off the Gamecocks 72-62. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.